Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about strategizing, prioritizing, and responding to examiners' corrections. This is the second video in our series on mastering the strategic corrections for defense, and it builds directly on what we covered earlier. After watching this video, you should be able to do several essential tasks. First, you will learn how to interpret and categorize examiners' comments logically and effectively. We also see how to draft a correction response matrix, a tool that will help you track its correction clearly. Next, we look at how to prioritize corrections, both in terms of urgency and academic importance, and how to convert that into a practical priority matrix. Finally, we discuss how to maintain professionalism, clarity, and academic integrity throughout your response process. With that foundation in place, let's begin by looking at how to interpret and categorize examiners' comments. Regarding reading and interpreting examiners' comments, at this stage, it's essential to take your time with each examiner's report. Start by reading the comments carefully, and not just once, but repeatedly. This repeated reading helps you fully understand what the examiner's intends with each remark. As you go through the feedback, try to distinguish between what is simply a suggestion and what constitutes a mandatory correction. This distinction prevents noisy revisions while ensuring that essential corrections are not overlooked. And if there is any comment that seems unclear or open to interpretation, do not hesitate to seek clarification. It is always better to confirm than to assume, with respect to grouping and organizing similar comments. Once you've understood the individual comments, the next step is to organize them in a meaningful way. Begin by identifying the recurring themes or overlapping feedback across examiners' reports. This will help you notice patterns that might require consolidated attention. It is often helpful to group the comments by chapters or topics, such as literature review, methods, or analysis, because this aligns your corrections with the structure of your dissertation. After grouping, summarize the feedback into a structured matrix. Doing this gives you a clear overview of what needs to be done and where it fits within the document. Ultimately, this organization helps streamline your workload and prevents you from duplicating efforts, making your correction process more efficient and manageable. Now that we've learned how to interpret and organize examiners' comments, the next step is to translate that understanding into a clear and actionable plan. In this section, we explore how to draft a correction response matrix, set meaningful priorities, and convert these priorities into a practical, well-structured priority matrix. This step brings clarity to your workflow and ensures that your corrections are approached strategically, not randomly or under pressure. Regarding developing a correction plan and timeline, once you have grouped and understood the examiner's feedback, the next critical step is to develop a clear correction plan. This plan should not be vague. It must be written and structured. Start by outlining each examiner's comments, the specific action required, the chapters affected, and your target completion dates. At this stage, drafting tools such as a correction response matrix and a priority matrix like the Serova matrix becomes extremely valuable. Importantly, before you begin implementing corrections, discuss this plan with your supervisor. This validation step ensures alignment, prevents wasted effort, and provides academic guidance. Overall, having a structured roadmap promotes accountability, reduces confusion, and ensures a steady and efficient progress towards this submission. Regarding drafting a correction response matrix, A correction response matrix is a central document for effectively managing examiner's feedback. In this matrix, you should clearly record the examiner's comment, your response, and the exact page or section where the correction was made. Be specific and concise in your responses. Avoid vague statements. Where possible, use the examiner's exact wording to show that the comment has been accurately understood and addressed. This approach demonstrates accountability, transparency, and completeness. More importantly, it makes it easy for examiners and supervisors to track corrections without unnecessary back and forth. Figure 1 shows the format of the correction response matrix of a university. The upper segment contains information on the name of the institution, department, program, student's name, admission number, and the title of dissertation. The lower segment contains a table divided into 4 columns and several rows as applicable. Starting from the extreme left, the columns are as follows. The first column on the extreme left is for the section of the dissertation where a particular comment was made, and the page where it appears in the original document. For example, title page, page 1, etc. The next column is for the exact comment made by the examiner on the page specified. For example, insert Nigeria after Abuja, or generate the table of contents automatically using the references tab in Microsoft Word instead of typing it manually to make it well formatted, etc. The next column is for the candidate response to the comment made by the examiner or the action taken by the candidate as instructed by the examiner. For example, Nigeria was inserted after Abuja, or the table of contents was generated automatically using the references tab in Microsoft Word, etc. The column on the extreme right is for the section of the dissertation where a candidate responded to a particular comment made by the examiner or took a specific action as instructed by the examiner, and the page where it appears in the revised document. The page could be the same as in the original document or on a different page. For example, title page, page 1. Also, table of contents, page 7, etc. Figure 2 shows the format of the correction response matrix of a postgraduate medical college. This is the one used by then doctors in the teaching hospitals. The upper segment contains information on the name of the institution, department, program, candidate's name, and the title of dissertation. The lower segment contains a table divided into 5 columns and several rows as applicable. Starting from the extreme left, the columns are as follows. The first column on the extreme left is for the section of the dissertation where a particular comment was made, and the page where it appears in the original document. For example, title page, page 1. Also, table of contents, page 7, etc. If there is more than one comment or instruction on the same page, enter each of them on separate rows. The next column is for the exact comment made by the first examiner on the page specified. For example, insert Nigeria after Abuja. Also, generate the table of contents automatically using the references tab in Microsoft Word instead of typing manually to make it well formatted, etc. The next column is for the exact comment made by the second examiner on the page specified. If the second examiner did not make any comment on the issue the first examiner commented on, skip it. If, on the other hand, the second examiner commented on an issue different from what the first examiner commented on that same page, enter it on a separate row. The next column is for the candidate response to the comment made by the examiners or the action taken by the candidate as instructed by the examiners on the corresponding row. For example, Nigeria was inserted after Abuja. Also, the table of contents was generated automatically using the references tab in Microsoft Word etc. The column on the extreme right is for the section of the dissertation, where a candidate responded to a particular comment made by the examiners or took a specific action as instructed by the examiner, and the page where it appears in the revised document. The page could be the same as in the original document or on a different page. For example, title page, page 1. Also, table of contents, page 7, etc. Regarding certain priorities, it is essential to recognize that not all corrections carry the same weight. Some corrections are critical to approval, while others mainly improve presentation and flow. Urgent corrections typically involve methodological, conceptual, or analytical issues that must be addressed promptly. Important corrections, on the other hand, enhance clarity, coherence, and overall polish. To manage this effectively, a priority matrix, such as the Eisenhower matrix, helps you run tasks logically. This ensures that your time and energy are invested first in what really matters most. Regarding drafting a priority matrix, also known as a prioritization grid, is a visual planning tool that helps you categorize tasks based on urgency and importance. It provides a structured framework for decision making and prevents you from wasting time on low-impact activities. In the context of dissertation corrections, a priority matrix allows you to identify which examiner's comments require immediate action, distinguish critical academic issues from minor administrative tasks, and manage your workload systematically within the submission timeline. This structure transforms what may seem overwhelming into a manageable and logical process. Regarding the Eisenhower matrix, the most widely used priority matrix is the Eisenhower matrix, named after a former United States President, Dwight D. Eisenhower. It is a four-quadrant framework that classifies tasks based on two key dimensions. The first is urgency, that is, how soon the task must be completed. And the second is importance, that is, how much the task contributes to your main academic goal, particularly approval and scholarly quality. Understanding these two dimensions is essential as they guide how you allocate time and effort during the correction process. Table 1 shows the four quadrants of the Eisenhower matrix. The matrix contains 4 columns and 4 rows, starting from the extreme left. The columns include the quadrant category, the type of task involved, the decision of the task, and the strategy to employ. The respective rows contain the quadrant category based on importance and urgency as follows. The first quadrant, which is on the first row, is for tasks that are urgent and important. They should be done first. They involve critical and time-bound tasks and thus must be completed immediately. The strategy is to act now. The second quadrant, which is on the second row, is for tasks that are not urgent but important. They can be scheduled. They involve tasks that contribute significantly to long-term success. They can be planned in advance. The strategy is to plan and schedule them. The third quadrant, which is on the third row, is for tasks that are urgent but not important. You can delegate or simplify them. They involve tasks that require quick attention but have minor academic impact. The strategy is to simplify them or seek help. The fourth quadrant, which is on the fourth row, is for tasks that are not urgent and not important. You can eliminate them. They involve low priority tasks that don't contribute meaningfully to your goal. The strategy is to ignore or remove them. Applying the Eisenhower matrix follows a logical sequence. First, list all the corrections received from examiners. Next, assess each correction by asking 2 critical questions. Is it urgent And is it important? Based on your answers, place each correction into the appropriate quadrant. Your immediate focus should be on quadrant 1, that is, urgent and important tasks, and these are potential deal breakers. Schedule quadrant 2 tasks carefully. Simplify or delegate quadrant 3 tasks, and consciously avoid quadrant 4, which consumes time without adding academic value. This disciplined approach keeps your correction process focused and efficient. Figure 3 shows a sample of the Eisenhower matrix with timeline for dissertation correction. The respective tasks are inserted and compiled in the appropriate quadrant based on their urgency and importance. For example, quadrant 1, which is for tasks that are urgent and important and require immediate action, contains tasks such as correct methodological errors noted by examiners. Also, adjust sample size justification requested, etc., with a November 8, 2025 deadline. Quadrant 2, which is for tasks that are not urgent but important and should be planned and scheduled, contains tasks such as update chapter 2 literature review with recent studies. Also, redesign tables and figures for better presentation, etc., with a November 22, 2025 deadline. Quadrant 3, which is for tasks that are urgent but not important and should be simplified or delegated, contains tasks such as adjust margins, pagination, online spacing. Also, update table of contents and list of abbreviations, etc., with a November 29, 2025 deadline. Quadrant 4, which is for tasks that are not urgent and not important and should be ignored or eliminated, contains tasks such as redesigning the cover page aesthetic beyond university requirements. Also, providing relevant details on the study area. Regarding the benefits of the priority matrix, using a priority matrix offers several significant benefits. First, it provides clarity. It enables you to know exactly where to start and what comes next. It enhances focus by preventing you from feeling overwhelmed by multiple tasks. It improves time management, helping you meet submission deadline more efficiently. Additionally, it promotes accountability, as the matrix can be shared with your supervisor to demonstrate progress. Most importantly, it builds confidence by transforming examiner feedback into a clear and actionable plan. As we begin to round up this session, let's focus on one of the most critical aspects of your correction process, that is, maintaining professionalism, clarity, and academic integrity. This final step reminds us that how we respond matters just as much as what we write. Here, we look at how to communicate respectfully, present your corrections with transparency, and uphold the highest standards of academic honesty. By doing so, you not only satisfy the examiner's expectations, but also demonstrate your growth as a researcher and scholar. Regarding academic tone and professionalism, beyond making corrections, how you respond to examiners matters as much. Always express gratitude and respect by acknowledging the value of their feedback. Use objective, evidence-based, calm, and factual language when responding. For example, this concern has been addressed in the table of contents on page 7. Avoid defensive or emotional expressions, even when the feedback feels challenging. Be specific when referencing changes. Cite exact page numbers and sections. This level of precision signals maturity, integrity, and professionalism in scholarship. In conclusion, effective management of dissertation corrections requires a clear strategy, a structured approach, and a strong personal discipline. Reading, grouping, planning, and prioritizing examiners' comments are all essential steps towards a steady and efficient progress. Professionalism and respectful communication remain non-negotiable, while tools such as the correction response matrix and priority matrix enhance transparency and accountability. Ultimately, every correction you address strengthens the quality, coherence, and integrity of your dissertation. As a final thought, every correction you embrace is a step towards excellence. For a deeper and more holistic understanding of research principles and processes, I encourage you to obtain a copy of Essentials of Research Methodology for Students and Professionals. Kindly visit the address displayed on your screen to access the order form and secure your copy. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it enlightening and helpful, kindly show your support by giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with your colleagues and students or trainees, and subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to have access to more educational content like this.